Good morning. Today we're going to learn about factoring. So if we're going to look at factorings, last week we multiplied two binomials together and we got a trinomial in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. To factor a trinomial like that, we must find two numbers that have the sum of b, whatever the coefficient is in front of the x value, and a product of a times c, your leading coefficient and your constant. What does it really mean to factor a trinomial? It means that we're going to write the product of two binomials. So let's get started. Okay, this first sheet that you have right here is only a note sheet. There's nothing to do on this sheet here. It's for you to look at and review if you need to later on. So here are steps to finding a trinomial in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. Step 1, we're going to multiply the first term and your last term, a times c. To begin with, we're going to set up this big X, and when we multiply a times c, we're going to put the product right here. Okay? Then we're going to put our b value right here. Our goal is to find what multiplies two numbers that multiply to get a times c, and they add to get b. Now, they could be negative. One could be negative. Both could be negative. Okay? Then we're going to write our binomials with the numbers you came up with. Divide those numbers by your a value. And then simplify. If the values do not simplify, move the denominator in front of the x. And we're going to go over all this. And then FOIL or multiply it back out to check your work. So here is our first example. 3x squared plus 8x plus 5. I gave you a tough example to begin with. If you do not have a coefficient in front of the x squared, it's a 1. So that's very easy to do when they're like that. When we multiply our a and c value, 3 times 5 is 15. Now we're going to set up our big x factor. X factor, I love that. Okay, our 15, the product goes here in this position. And the 8, our b value that's right here, we're going to put that right there. I need to find two numbers that multiply to get 15, and they're going to add to get 8. And it's 3 and 5. So now I'm going to write my two binomials with the numbers that I came up with. X plus 3, x plus 5. The two numbers that are there, and I have them both as positive. The next thing I need to do is divide those numbers by my a value and simplify. 3 divided by 3 and 5 divided by 3. 3 divided by 3 will simplify to 1, but the 5 divided by 3 will not. Okay? So what this is, if it doesn't simplify, I need to move it right over there in front of the x. And I have x plus 1. That one simplified. 3x plus 5. I just moved this 3 right over here, and I have 3x plus 5. When I multiply these back out, they worked. Because right here, I have the exact same thing as I had up here to begin with. So let's try an example. Here is one example. Okay, I have 3x squared plus 7x minus 6. So my first step, I'm going to multiply 3 times negative 6, and I have negative 18. And I'm going to put a 7 right there. My b value is 7. I'm going to put it right there. I need to find two numbers that are going to multiply to get negative 18. And those two numbers will add to get a positive 7. And I know that that is 9 times negative 2. 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. And if I combine a positive 9 and a negative 2, I have 7. My next step is to write my two binomials, x, and here's a positive 9, x, and a negative 2. The next thing I'm going to do, if you remember, I multiplied 3 times negative 6. I need to divide those numbers by 3. Now I need to simplify. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And over here, I can't simplify 2 divided by 3. So this is where I'm going to move this 3 right over here. And there we go. And that is how we're going to factor this. Now, if I multiply this back out, remember our FOIL method or the box method, you could use either one that we talked about last week. You could say x times 3x is 3x squared. X times negative 2, negative 2x. 3 times 3x is positive 9x. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. When I combine like terms, these are the only two terms that are the same. I have 3x squared plus 7x minus 6. And if I look here, that is the exact same thing as we had to begin with. So here is my answer, and I have factored that. Let's try one more. This one is a little easier for you. I have x squared plus 8x plus 16. I'm going to make my x. 1 times 16 is just 16. I'm going to put that right there. Okay. My b value is 8. Now I need to find two numbers that will multiply to get 16, and they will add to get 8. Two numbers that multiply to get 16, they will add and get 8. And it is 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is positive 16. 4 times 4, 4 plus 4 is positive 8. I'm going to go ahead and write my two binomials. I have a positive 4, x plus 4, x plus 4. If I check, I don't have to divide by anything. I would be dividing by 1 because we have a leading coefficient of 1. So this is my answer. If I'm going to check it, x times x is x squared. X times 4 is positive 4x. 4 times x is a positive 4x. 4 times 4 is 16. When I combine my like terms, I have x squared plus 8x plus 16. I have the same thing here as I did up here in my original trinomial. Here is my answer. I hope you have a great day. If you have any questions, I will be here between 10 and 11 and 2 and 3.